MeidasTouch breaking another major national story. The new MAGA Republican Speaker of the House, who Donald Trump, Matt Gaetz, and others are referring to as MAGA Mike, the MAGA Republican Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, previously stated that mass shootings are the result of the Cultural Revolution of the 1960s. MeidasTouch.com and our team of incredible editors there pulled a clip where the now MAGA Republican Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, previously stated that mass shootings are the result of no-fault divorces becoming legal and schools embracing the teaching of evolution. This is why, folks, I always say if there is a way to support the growth of MeidasTouch.com and our editorial team there, go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Now, our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, and the great team of there that continues to grow thanks to your support. And you know, we previously broke the story on MeidasTouch.com as well about Donald Trump's violation of the gag order that was imposed on him on October 3rd. October 20th, we exposed it. Donald Trump was found in violation of the gag order. And based on our finding, not only was he sanctioned on October 20th when he violated the gag order again, based on our reporting, the penalties were far even more severe. Let me play for you this clip right now, though, that we were able to dig up at MeidasTouch.com. Again, it's patreon.com/MeidasTouch if you want to support the independent journalism there. Here's the clip, folks.
Now, some of y'all were around in the late 60s. You remember that, what that was about. The countercultural revolution, Woodstock and drugs and peace and free love and all that, but more about the undermining of the foundations of religion and morality. Because if you remember, in the late 60s, we invented things like no-fault divorce laws. We invented the sexual revolution. We invented radical feminism. We invented legalized abortion in 1973, where the state, the government, sanctions the killing of the unborn. All these things happened because, as collectively as Americans, we began to get together in growing numbers and thumb our nose at the Creator and say, we don't believe that anymore. We're rejecting the founders' natural law philosophy in favor of moral relativism, and we are going down another path. Now, what we tolerate in moderation, our children excuse in excess. What happens when you fast forward another 30 or 40 years? Well, here's a picture's worth 1,000 words. Go to the next one for me. I mean, we know that we're living in a completely amoral society. And so people say, how can a young person go into their schoolhouse and open fire on their classmates? Because we've taught a whole generation, a couple of generations now of Americans, that there is no right and wrong, that it's about survival of the fittest, and you evolved from the primordial slime. Why is that life of any sacred value? Because there's nobody sacred to whom it's owed. None of this should surprise us. And it leads in the next slide for me, it leads into just chaos.
And folks, a lot of information is coming out about MAGA Mike, the new Speaker of the House as well. Here is a compilation that was prepared from Matt Gaetz praising Mike Johnson to Mike Johnson blaming women who have gotten abortions for the reason why MAGA Republicans want to cut Social Security and Medicare. I mean, some horrific things that this individual has been saying, who the MAGA Republicans have now made their Speaker of the House. Play this clip.
MAGA is ascendant, and if you don't think that moving from Kevin McCarthy to MAGA Mike Johnson shows the ascendance of this movement and where the power in the Republican Party truly lies, then you're not paying attention.
Roe v. Wade gave constitutional cover to the elective killing of unborn children in America.
There's a lot of pro-lifers, of course, celebrating this extraordinary day in American history that took us almost a half century to get to.
In just a few number of years, Social Security goes belly up. So does Medicare, Medicaid, all of these big spending programs. We've got to think about long-term reforms to those programs.
You think about the implications of that on the economy. We're all struggling here to cover the bases of Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and all the rest. If we had all those able-bodied workers in the economy, we wouldn't be going upside down and toppling over like this. Listen,
the gentleman.
I will not yield. I will not. Roe was a terrible corruption of America's constitutional jurisprudence.
Then, of course, there was this post that MAGA Mike, the Speaker of the House, made after Roe v. Wade was overturned and Louisiana put in place total abortion bans. MAGA Mike wrote, late yesterday, the LA Department of Health informed abortion facilities in our state that the right to life has now been restored. Perform an abortion and get imprisoned at hard labor for 1 to 10 years and get fined $10,000 to $100,000. That was after Roe v. Wade was overturned. Here's what the House Judiciary GOP is saying when the Democrat Judiciary Committee posted this video. You saw it a little bit in the clip that I just showed you before, but the House Judiciary Dems said, during a House Judiciary Committee hearing, Rep. Mike Johnson attacks Roe v. Wade, insisting that if only women were compelled to bring more able-bodied workers into the world, Republicans wouldn't need to slash Social Security and Medicare. And here the House Judiciary GOP responds, this is what the Republicans saying, everything that Mike Johnson said was true. God bless Justice Alito and Rep. Mike Johnson for standing up for life, mothers, and unborn babies. In other words, Mike Johnson, Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, Donald Trump, they want to make the reproductive decisions for women. They want to control a woman's right to reproductive care. And Mike Johnson, Jim Jordan, Donald Trump, Matt Gaetz, and other MAGA Republicans, they think that they should substitute their own views about destroying women's freedoms in place of what the actual standard of care is and a woman's consultations with her doctor, her faith, herself, most importantly. Here's the clip, by the way, that the House Judiciary Dems ran. You saw a little bit of that before. Play this clip.
Roe v. Wade gave constitutional cover to the elective killing of unborn children in America, period. You think about the implications of that on the economy. We're all struggling here to cover the bases of Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and all the rest. If we had all those able-bodied workers in the economy, we wouldn't be going upside down and toppling over like this. Listen,
the gentleman
I will not yield. I will not. Roe was a terrible corruption of America's constitutional jurisprudence.
Here is MAGA Mike, now the Speaker of the House, stating that we don't live in a democracy. We live in a biblical republic. Play the clip.
You know, we don't live in a democracy because a democracy is two wolves and a lamb deciding what's for dinner, okay? It's not just majority rule, it's a constitutional republic. And the founders set that up because they followed the biblical admonition on what a civil society is supposed to look like.
MAGA Mike currently is the co-sponsor of 3 bills that would make a nationwide ban on abortion, taking the most draconian measures in red states and forcing that upon all of the other states. I guess so much for states' rights right there.
For me, and I know many families out there, it's more important than ever to make sure that you're saving money and cutting back on your expenses. For example, I used to spend over $100 a month on streaming services. Netflix, Disney Plus, Prime, you name it. But since I started using ExpressVPN, I've been able to cut back and save so much every month. Let me explain. See, all these streaming services like Netflix actually have thousands of more shows than you think. You just don't see them all because they give you different shows depending on your country. So what you see on Netflix here is completely different to what someone in Italy or South Korea sees. But using the ExpressVPN app, I can change my online location. ExpressVPN has over 90 countries to choose from. So every time I run out of stuff to watch, I just switch over to another country to unlock new shows. Right now, I'm watching Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. It's not on Netflix here, but with ExpressVPN, I just tap one button to change my country to Italy, refresh the page, and it shows up. I don't need to pay extra for Apple TV or Prime just to watch it. And on top of that, I can even use ExpressVPN to get discounts. Some services cost less in other countries. For example, if you buy Netflix from Argentina, it costs a fraction of the price. At less than $7 a month, ExpressVPN pays for itself and so much more. It's a no-brainer. So if you want to get way more shows and save money while you're at it, go to expressvpn.com/MeidasTouch. Don't forget to use my link in the description below and you could get 3 extra months free. That's expressvpn.com/MeidasTouch. expressvpn.com/MeidasTouch to learn more. Thank you.
By the way, here is a news article that others were able to dig up as well, where Mike Johnson in 2003 denounced the Supreme Court for throwing out sodomy laws. Johnson stated that states should have the right to criminalize homosexuality, although that doesn't stop the MAGA Republicans and log cabin Republicans who are supposed to be, the log cabin Republicans are supposed to be homosexual Republicans who they write this statement that they are supportive of Speaker Johnson and his stances on things. But when you think about Johnson, he believes that also he tried to overthrow the results of the 2020 election. Johnson was the leader of the main amicus brief to try to overthrow the results. And of course, there's this clip that's circulating around right now, which is when he was asked the question about whether or not he would support overthrowing the government. Here was the response that he and the MAGA Republicans gave. Play this clip.
Mr. Johnson, you helped lead the efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. Will you
Next question. Next question.
And then when the same reporter asked a question about whether or not he supports funding to Ukraine and Israel, here was the response that was given.
You've asked your question.
You asked your question. Go away.
We're not doing policy tonight. Any other questions?
Folks, that's MAGA Mike right there, the new Speaker of the House, put in place by MAGA Republicans, specifically by Donald Trump is the one getting credit for installing MAGA Mike. We should all be worried that MAGA Mike's plan is to shut down the government in the next few weeks. That's why they put MAGA Mike there. But share this video. Share this video with friends and coworkers and colleagues and neighbors. It is really important that you help out here in educating people what is going on so that we understand how extreme these MAGA Republicans are. We know what their plans are, and you can hear their own words for themselves. There's no moderates in the Republican Party anymore. It's all MAGA. It's led by MAGA Mike, and that is what they are celebrating in MAGA world. Again, hat tip to our editorial team at MeidasTouch.com as well, led by Ron Filipkowski. And if you want to support the independent journalism that's being done there, where some great stories have been broken, exposing really important, significant things. Just think about the stories we've broken in the past 1 week, 2 weeks alone. Go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. We don't have outside investors at MeidasTouch, so it's one of the ways we can build that independent media platform and keep on growing together. Thanks so much, and hit subscribe. We'll see you on the next breaking news update.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.